Good afternoon. We are here at the House Republican Issues Conference, and as we were in a work session here within the last half hour, there was a buzz among the audience as people were seeing notices come across their phone as something that was rather shocking to us. We saw the remarks from Senator Chuck Schumer calling for new elections in Israel. And we want to speak very clearly and concisely to say that this is not only highly inappropriate, it's just plain wrong for an American leader to play such a divisive role in Israeli politics while our closest ally in the region is in an existential battle for its very survival. We need to be standing with Israel, and we need to give our friends and allies our full support. We have to stand with and support them right now, but what you're seeing from the White House and clearly from the Senate Democrats is really exactly the opposite. They seem to be standing with and supporting Iran and its proxies instead. This is an extension of the Democrats' foreign policy that has projected weakness on the world stage and undermined our allies around the world. The most important election, in our view, is not what may happen in Israel, but the one that is needed right here in the United States. It will happen in November, and it cannot get here soon enough.
It's disturbing to see the Senate Majority Leader attacking our strongest ally in the Middle East, Israel, at this time of war. You go back to October 7th, and you watched Hamas commit barbaric acts of murder against Israelis, murdering Jews, murdering babies, taking hostages, some that are still held today. And as hostages are still being held, in Israel, who we have always stood by and supported their right to defend themselves as a Jewish state, is under attack. To have Senate Majority Leader Schumer attacking the democratically elected leadership of Israel is disgraceful. And the fact that he won't give that same kind of criticism to Hamas, to Iran, who continues to support terrorist organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah, and others who want to do harm to people who believe in freedom around the world, starting with our ally Israel. The United States, since the formation of the Jewish state of Israel, has always stood by our ally. And in fact, there's really been no daylight between our two countries for a long, long time. It is sad to see that in Washington, the Democratic Party is starting to fracture and move away from that. Needs to stop. They need to look in the mirror and recognize who our friends are and who our enemies are. And if you can't tell the difference, you don't have the responsibility to lead. That's what's at stake here. Senator Schumer owes an apology to the people of Israel who elected their leadership. But keep in mind, this is the same man who stood on the steps of the Supreme Court and threatened them. This isn't a time for games. This is a time to stand with your friends who are under attack and show no daylight between the United States and Israel. The House Republican leadership continues to show that. We passed a bill to give Israel the aid that they need, and Senator Schumer won't bring that bill to the Senate floor. We're going to continue to stand with Israel in their right to defend themselves against terrorists like Hamas. With that, I'm going to bring up our whip.
Chuck Schumer calling for the U.S. to meddle in Israel's elections is unprecedented and very dangerous. If he wanted to focus on elections overseas, maybe he should have called for an election in Gaza instead. I'll remind you that there hasn't been an election in Gaza since Hamas took over in 2006. Israel is our strongest ally and the only freestanding democracy in the Middle East. We should do everything we can to support them, not undermine them, as they fight for their very existence against barbaric terrorists. Schumer called Netanyahu a, quote, obstacle to peace. I think Israelis would agree that Hamas is the obstacle to peace. Our Democrats, Chuck Schumer et al., the White House, they have a problem. But it's not with Netanyahu. It is with the anti-Israel members of their own party that have taken over the woke left. While they choose Hamas, House Republicans will continue to stand with Israel.
House Republicans are about to be joined by Israeli Ambassador Herzog to address members for a conversation during today's lunch, because we understand as House Republicans the gravity of what our most precious ally Israel is facing. October 7th was the deadliest day in history for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. And Ambassador Herzog will today give an update on the war effort to destroy Hamas, highlight the fact that hostages are still being held by Hamas in Gaza, and making the case for much-needed military aid supported by Republicans that's currently being held up by Chuck Schumer and Democrats in the Senate. Israel is not only fighting for its right to exist, it's fighting for the rights of Jewish people everywhere. And instead of meddling in elections of a sovereign nation, Chuck Schumer should follow House Republicans' lead in supporting our ally in their darkest hour. The obstacle to peace is Democrat leader Chuck Schumer, who has refused to pass the Israeli aid package, which supports our ally Israel as they fight Iranian-backed Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists. This same Israeli aid package that Joe Biden issued an unprecedented veto threat for. House Republicans proudly stand with Israel. We are proud to host Ambassador Herzog here today, and we want to continue to stand up and make sure that we are crystal clear. Chuck Schumer does not stand with Israel. House Republicans do. Thank you very much.